Hi everyone, welcome to your English classes. Our today's poem is Dust of Snow by Robert Frost, which is the very first poem of class 10 CBSE. Before we begin, I would request you to take screenshots of all the important notes that I will provide you along the video because they will be really helpful for you during the exam. So first, let's begin with knowing about our poet Robert Frost. Robert Frost was an American poet who was born in San Francisco, California on 26th of March 1874 and he died in Boston on 29th of January 1963. He was influenced by great poets like William Wordsworth, John Keats, W.B. Yeats, Ezra Pound. His style of poetry is blank verse. Now, what is blank verse? Blank verse is such a poem where you do not get any rhyme scheme and they are usually written in iambic pentameter, which he has used in many of his great poems like Mending Wall and Home Burial. Although his poetry covered a wide range of themes, but the main themes that he focused on are nature and humanity, which nature is the theme of our poetry as well. Though his poems look very simple, but they are not really because they contain many hidden meanings within them. So let's begin with our poem Dust of Snow, but before that I would like to give you an idea about the present mood of the poet, why he had written this poem or why he ended up in such a situation where he is in the poem. He was not in a very good mood. He had a very bad day and somehow might be he had some suicidal tendency, so he came and stood under a hemlock tree, and we all know that hemlock tree is the symbol of suicide and death. This poetry is called a nature poem because it is based on the elements of nature. The elements of nature used in this poem are the crow, the winter season and the hemlock tree. All three are the bad or the evil elements of nature, and this poem will tell you how even the negative things and the trivial things in life can have positive impact and change our lives for better. Let's begin. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. The way a crow shook down on me. A crow was sitting on the hemlock tree, and when the poet passed by or he stood under the tree, the crow suddenly shook down some dust of snow, and those dust of snow fell on the head or the shoulder of the poet. And that feeling somehow had given his heart a change of mood from negative to positive. And he said that that feeling, that upliftment of the happy mood somehow saved the rest of the part of his day. So this is the surface meaning of the poem, but now we will go into the details, okay, wherein we'll have the critical analysis of the poem and you will get to know the theme, the central idea, the symbolism, the irony and the context. Please take screenshots, okay. The theme. The poem Dust of Snow is a nature poem. It illustrates the elements of nature like winter season, that is the snow, hemlock tree and a crow. All these elements signify death and doom. But the theme centers around the central idea of the healing power of nature that help with negative human emotions. Coming to the central idea. The central idea of the poem revolves around the idea that trivial and even negative things in life can bring a positive effect to you if you learn to appreciate them. All your negative thoughts and feelings will disappear in the presence of nature because nature is curing and healing. Let's see about the symbolism. Here, winter season, that is the snow, symbolizes sufferings and discomfort, which is the present state of the poet. He is in a painful mood, and that's why he has come under the hemlock tree with suicidal thoughts, as the hemlock tree symbolizes poisonous elements of nature, or it's an element of suicide, as I have said. Next, the crow symbolizes bearer of doom and death. What about the irony of the poem? Because see, generally if we see negative things, we will become more negative from within, right? But here in this poem we see that the negative elements of nature somehow cut off the negativity from within the poet and gave him a positive feeling. So that's the irony, right? The poem is also an ironical poem where all the negative elements of nature transforms the pensive and suicidal mood of the poet to a happy and positive one, and that is because of the healing power of nature. Lastly, let's know about the context. The crow is the bearer of death and doom, but here the crow brings joy to the poet. How? By shaking off some dust of snow on the poet while he stands under the hemlock tree. The poet was earlier in a very bad mood, wherein he had declared that his day had been ruined. But when he comes under the hemlock tree with suicidal thoughts, his entire thought process changes. He learns to appreciate all negative things in life as well, and understands that every evil can be cured by the healing power of nature. Now, after this, we will come to the literary devices that are used in the poem, because literary devices sometimes can be asked in your exam, so that will be helpful for you to know. Let's start off with the rhyme scheme. If you look at the poem very carefully, you will see that the last word of the first line and the last word of the third line matches, and the last word of the second line and the last word of the fourth line matches. So here you get the rhyme scheme A, B, A, B. Again in the second stanza, same. You get the rhyme scheme C, D, C, D, wherein the last word of the fifth line and the last word of the seventh line matches, and the last word of the sixth line and the last word of the eighth line matches. Okay, so the rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. Next literary device used in the poem is the assonance. What is assonance? Assonance is the repetition of the vowel sounds in a line. Look at the line, shook down on me. Shook, double O, down carries single O, on carries single O. So here the vowel O is repeated in 3 consecutive words, so you get the literary device assonance here. The next literary device is alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration is the repetition of the same letter or sounds in a line. Look at the sentence, and saved some part. So there is a repetition of the letter S in 2 consecutive words. So here you get the alliteration. The fourth literary device used here is the consonance. What is consonance? It's the opposite of assonance. Assonance is the repetition of the vowel sounds. Consonance is the repetition of the consonant sounds in a line. Look at the line. Of a day I had rued. Here the consonant D, the, is repeated 3 times in a line. Okay, I forgot to mention one thing. The meaning of rude is ruined. The day of the poet was ruined, and somehow the 3 elements of nature, the snow, the crow and the hemlock tree, brought a positive effect on the poet and saved the part of the day that he had ruined earlier. With that, we come to the conclusion of today's class. Hope you like the video. Do not forget to continue watching the channel for more poems and important lessons, and if you want me to take up any lesson, do let me know in the comment section. Thank you.